What's your perfect World Soul Saga ending? I don't know about perfect, but one thing that comes to mind is Azeroth awakening, having to, but maybe even only temporarily, expending power to be awake. She does so, has to fight the Titans. In fighting the Titans, expends a ton of her energy, but destroys them. Maybe thus genuinely sending their souls back to their original realms. And then, maybe the opening to what happens after the World Soul Saga is our initial opening expansion into going to some of these other worlds, pursuing them and stopping them from repeating what they've done in the past. It doesn't all have to hinge on the Titans either. There is also lore set up for a potential First Ones storyline. And depending on what those are, they could take it that route as well. If not both. So for me, realistically, Azeroth, I want to see Azeroth wake up. I want to see the Titans get fucked up. I want to see maybe she has to expend such a tremendous amount of energy fighting them that she goes back to sleep. Maybe in doing so, portions of our own world, if not our whole world, are reborn. And maybe after that I don't know. There's lots of different cool stuff you could do. You could have re-origination happen. Aman'Thul could rewind time on us. We could trigger a mass re-origination event. We could trigger, it wouldn't surprise me if in some event we have a situation where we have like a contained re-origination event similar to Uldum, where maybe a portion of the world gets re-originated, or maybe all but one little spot, and we are in that spot. Everything else around us gets re-originated. We're in like the dead zone, or we're out of the dead zone, or whatever you want to call it. There's lots of opportunities. The great thing about WoW is that they have a canonical world resetting and potentially universe resetting thing that is re-origination. And so I think in some capacity you seek to leverage that power. I would also like to note that in Antorus, the Burning Throne, as the characters are approaching the Coven of Shavara fight and the Varen Mathras fight, you're accosted by some Dark Keepers, multiple of which actually, cast an ability called Flames of Re-Origination. I've also discussed in the past how there are multiple types of re-origination as it appears, maybe one altered by order and time, maybe one altered by fire, maybe one altered by shadow and death via Argus. It's maybe like taking something like Apocalypse and molding it into something else. Order turns it into re-origination, maybe light turns it into flames of re-origination, etc. You're like taking a base value and adjusting it essentially. So I think that the future of Azeroth also comes down to, if re-origination happens, what kind of re-origination is it? Is it the dark, shadowy re-origination that comes from Argus in the fight? Is it going to immediately end all life in the cosmos if it happens? Is it a flame that cascades out from a world tree and burns the world around it? Looking at Farak and the Fire Lord situation going on, is it, what does that look like? Is it the void coming to try to drown the world in darkness and from it rebirthing in a horrific visage of what it once was? What does that mean? I think one of the most fun quotes from any Old God stuff is the quote that says, "She is not the last, but the first. Drown her and you will see." Drown is something that we typically associate with water, right? Like drowning in a pool, drowning in the ocean. Well, when you fight Agramar, he also says drown in flames. And I always just thought like, oh, that's interesting. Like you could technically drown the world in flames as well if you wanted to look at it that way. Like the word drown doesn't have to specifically refer to a liquid or to a body of water or something like that, or dying inside of it. So drowning in emotion, that's, whatever it might be. I think the end of the World Soul Saga is I wouldn't say it's very hard to predict. I actually think it's more predictable than much of the other things that we've had in the past, but also only as a result of the fact that they announced 2 expansions before it. And, so hopefully that answers your question. I would like to see a continuation of the universe, canonically. I do not believe that Azeroth waking up has to be absolutely destructive for our planet. I don't believe that. I think that it is possible that a Titan can wake up and not have to risk the life of every living thing on the planet. Perhaps Azeroth has been drowning in spirit, so she's asleep. Well, let me ask you guys this question. if you guys have paid attention throughout the history and world of Azeroth, there's a lot of water. A lot of water that cascades down from mountains and down into facilities, and then a lot of times underground. Underground. Where's that water going? Remember that whisper I showed you earlier? At the bottom of the ocean, even light must die. Is it possible that they're trying to put her out? We talked about it before. Is it possible they're trying to literally drown her in water? And the reason she appears as like a living flame is because she's like at risk of drowning? Or is the water coming to her, her energy suffusing it, and then it's supposed to go somewhere else? I have a feeling it'd be fucked up if at the core of our world there was like a huge vault that she's being kept in, and water is just coming into the vault and like slowly like filling the vault up. And if the vault fills, it just puts her light out, just snuffs her out. That'd be fucked up. Basically just slowly drowning her. That'd be fucked up, dude. The Circle of Stars could be the essence of the Titans themselves, sure. And there's even been that old god whisper, now my dream has been made your own. The Circle of Stars made flesh. The idea, flesh is his gift, he is your true creator. I have always loved the idea that flesh and mortality are actually tied to death. And that by the Titans meddling with the power of Argus, that they may have accidentally afflicted themselves with what they consider to be the curse of flesh. And if they do that and turn themselves into flesh, then they can die. And if they can die, then that means that someone can kill them. And if someone can kill them, his name is Sargeras. That's what I want, but I don't think that'll happen. But I do like the idea that in some way maybe the Titans end up becoming flesh. Like, what if they too become corrupted? Remember Harberon? Because Harberon, remember, on the ship, the Maw of the Damned, he's a Constellar who is affected by flesh and seems to be corrupted by it. And Xalatath has some dialogue about him. She says, I don't know if it's in here. Oh, it was thought his kind was incorruptible. A lesson for my brothers, I suppose. And it's talking about a Constellar who seems to have turned to flesh. That's interesting. Or death, even. Even his kind, he was maybe swayed to death, Maw of Souls type shit. I mean, he is on the boat of the damned with Helia, right? So maybe he's corrupted by death. But he does take on a fleshy, and he has hair, which is like, whoa, that's weird. Why does he look this way? Maybe it's because death, mortality, flesh being the gift of death himself makes sense. I mean, flesh is necessary for mortality and for the soul to move. Life, death, I'm but one ripple in the eternal ebb and flow. Now it is I who must pay the blood price. Right? Almost like Raden becoming corrupted, becoming super fucking sad. Their bodies, I think, can be corrupted by flesh. And if they can, then that whisper, yeah, my dream has been made your own. The Circle of Stars made flesh. It would be very interesting if the Circle of Stars, the Pantheon of Order, was turned into flesh. And by the way, out of all of the Titans, who appears to be the most fleshy of them all? I'll just answer the question. His name is Sargeras.